Hello everyone and welcome back to the CDL podcast channel. As you can see on the screen here, this is not going to be a podcast episode, and obviously if you saw this video get uploaded and saw a notification for it or something, you could assume it wasn't a podcast episode because there is no event this weekend. This weekend is the 4th of July. Obviously worldwide it's the 4th of July, but here in America that's kind of a special day because it is our Independence Day, so it's a national holiday. Most people have off of work, so I'm assuming that's kind of why there's no COD event. Usually there would have been one this weekend because it's an every other weekend kind of thing. So generally we would have had them this weekend, but we didn't, obviously due to the holiday here in America. So I'm kind of doing a special video to fill in the gap. Otherwise it'd be like a 2-week gap with no podcast or no video. We haven't really done anything on the channel besides like the one mini podcast that was like a reaction to Karma retiring due to the kind of the 2-week break as well. But this is like the first video that's going to be on the channel that isn't actually directly related to a podcast for a post or pre-event. I saw the Huntsmen do this. They did a tier maker, which is right here on the screen, where they rated the all the Call of Duty titles. I believe it's from COD 2 on. I don't think they have anything before COD 2. I'm not really sure. I actually didn't really play COD 2 or 3 much, as you'll see in the video, but they don't have anything before COD 2 on here, and none of like the little spin-offs or like the DS or mobile games and stuff like that, or COD Mobile, because we're just doing the console games, like the main games, no spin-offs or anything for like the PS Vita or the DS or mobile apps or anything. So just the main games, just like the Huntsman did. The tier list goes from God, obviously like insanely good games, to 1 being kind of like an A, 2 a B, 3 a C, 4 a D, and then trash. And then there's like a category for I don't know, or I've never really played them. So kind of for like the earlier CODs that I didn't really play enough. I mean, I've heard COD 2 was amazing, and I've heard COD 3 was trash. But instead of just listening to people and putting them in those categories, I'd rather just put them in the I don't know, never played, because who knows, maybe if I would have played COD 2 in its time, it would have been my favorite COD. Or I know a lot of people hate COD 3, but maybe I would have thought it was like a 3 or something, or a 2. So I'm going to probably end up putting those in the I don't know. To be like a precursor to this list for my ratings, I'm going to factor in heavily, like the most heavy thing in my factoring is going to be like competitive, as this is like a competitive Call of Duty, a CDL channel. I'm going to really heavily factor in the competitive aspect of that game, how good it was, and then the next kind of heavy weighing thing is going to be the multiplayer and public matches and how good overall multiplayer was. And then a smaller factor, I'm going to sometimes factor in like side game modes, so like for the Black Ops games, like zombies may bump it up a little bit. The campaigns won't get factored in too much because to be quite honest with you, I don't really play the Call of Duty campaigns. I do like single player games. I love Borderlands and stuff like that, but I'm not really too into the Call of Duty campaigns. I never really have been. I know like the Black Ops series is really good. I just have never gotten into them. I mean, if that's something I should do, let me know. If you guys love the campaigns, I might like to try them out. I'd probably enjoy them, I'm sure. I just am so into competitive every year that I end up playing that. So yeah, now you guys kind of know how I'm ranking them. I'm going to factor in the side game modes like zombies and stuff maybe a little bit, or like Warzone or Blackout may boost or downgrade games, but it's mostly going to be based on competitive and multiplayer. And another disclaimer, I really started playing Call of Duty heavily in Black Ops 1, and before that I was basically playing straight Halo 3 all the time. So I did play a little bit of like COD 4 and World at War, but anything before COD 4 I haven't really played. And really at Black Ops 1 is when I really started heavily playing COD, although I did play all the ones before Black Ops 1 pretty decently amount, but I was more focused on Halo 3 at the time. So let's get started. We'll just go, I think we'll go in order of the games, so the order they came out, if I can remember them right. Correct me if I do it wrong, but that's going to move Call of Duty 2 into the I don't know and Call of Duty 3 right away. We won't spend time talking about those two. I didn't really play COD. I was pretty young at this time. I'm just turned 22 now, so these games came out when I was pretty young, and I probably was playing like GameCube or something at the time. I wasn't really playing Call of Duty. Then the first time I really ever played Call of Duty was at a friend's house. It was COD 4. So now I know pretty much everybody, like all you like older Call of Duty players, are going to put COD 4 in like your God tier, because I mean, obviously COD 4 is kind of the game that changed it all for Call of Duty. It kind of like was the turning point into like modern Call of Duty. No pun intended with the Modern Warfare, but it kind of was. It had like the like create a class type system, which was like the first time we really saw that. Before that, it was kind of default classes and stuff. And there was a pretty decently started competitive scene, although I wasn't really involved in it. But for me, the game doesn't hold as much nostalgia because I didn't play it as much. At this time, I was really loving Halo 3. So I played the remastered 2, and I've played the game enough. I think I'm going to put it in 2 for now, and obviously if the only reason I'm putting it at 2, because this is my list. This isn't a Call of Duty fans list. I know most fans would put this at 1 or God, but me, this is my personal list. So for me personally, it is like a number 2. I think it's a really, really good game. I can understand completely if you have it in God or 1, especially if it's where you started off. But for me, I was pretty young at the time that I played it, and I was more into Halo at the time, like I said. So I think it's a really great game. I think it's, in terms of like legacy and impact on the franchise, it's easily a God tier game. But for my personal enjoyment, and I didn't play competitive much in it at all, I'd have to put it at a 2. So then following COD 4, I believe the release was World at War. World at War for me, I think it's going to fall into a 3. And I'm going to reserve the right to change it a little bit here as we go. I mean, there's 2 games for me that fit in the God tier for my personal enjoyment, and you'll see what those are later. But for me, World at War is going to go in like the 3 tier now, because I think the multiplayer, once again, I didn't play this game a ton, but I think the multiplayer was pretty fun. And I'm a pretty big zombies fan. My best friend is like, his favorite thing is zombies, and so I like play the Easter eggs and stuff with him usually when they come out. And this is kind of where zombies really started, and I just really love zombies, so that kind of ticks it up for me from a 4. Otherwise, I probably would put it at like a 4. The multiplayer was okay, but wasn't amazing. But with the combination of multiplayer and zombies, I put World at War at about a 3, I think. Then following World at War, I believe the release, oh god, I hope I don't screw this up, was MW2, and obviously a ton of people are going to have this in their God tier. For me, I think it goes at a 1. I think Modern Warfare 2 is really kind of the turning point for me in Call of Duty as well. It's when I started to transition a little bit more into COD. I was still playing like a ton of Halo 3. I don't remember if Reach was out at the time or not, but I was playing Halo 3 or Reach, whatever was out at the time, a lot. And then one night I played Modern Warfare 2 at the same friend's house that introduced me to COD 4 originally. And I just absolutely fell in love with it. Once again, I didn't really play competitive too much in this, and in terms of side game modes, I didn't really play the campaign, but I really loved the Spec Ops. I mean, at the time I was playing Modern Warfare 2, I was not very good. I was a just pretty average Call of Duty player, not nearly as good as I am now, and I played Spec Ops all the time with like my cousin and some of my friends, and I really, really enjoyed Spec Ops. That's like a fond memory of MW2 for me. And then like going for nukes and stuff once I started to get better at the game, and just playing pubs and constantly with like, it was such an arcadey type game, which is how I always feel Call of Duty should be. It was such an arcadey type game with all like the cheesy stuff that was in it, and to me that made it more fun. So it goes up in the 1. It can't really go in a God tier for me personally, because I didn't really play competitive, and once again, I wasn't heavily playing it at the time, and I was still pretty young, but I understand completely if you have it in your God tier. So then following MW2, the release was Black Ops 1. I think I might move Black Ops 1 based on where I put some other stuff, but for now I'm going to put Black Ops 1 in the 2 tier. That might move down to a 3 at some point. It won't move up. But this is, like I said, MW2 is a slight turning point for me. Black Ops 1 was like the official turning point. I remember I was still playing Halo Reach. It was definitely Halo Reach at this time heavily, and one of my other cousins that I sometimes played Halo with brought over, he was like hanging out with us for the night and stuff, and he brought over Black Ops 1, and I was like, I'm more of a Halo player, I don't really play Call of Duty, but I hadn't tried it at all. It was just like, it had come out like the week before or whatever, and it was a Nuketown 24/7 weekend, and I'll never forget, I know this gun was trash, but I didn't know anything about the game. I started using the Enfield on Nuketown, and I'm pretty sure I played for like 10 hours straight that night. I don't even think I went to sleep. I just absolutely fell in love with the game, and I was like, okay, I understand why people play Call of Duty over Halo now. And from then on, I started to play Halo less and less, and I was just falling absolutely in love with Black Ops 1. I think the multiplayer is about a high 3, maybe a low 2, but the zombies in this game, to me, I played Kino all the time, and it was just fantastic. So to me, I think the zombies helps raise it to a 2. Once again, I still really wasn't fully into competitive yet. I didn't really get my competitive start until like Black Ops 2. I wasn't really following the competitive scene or anything. But I think just the enjoyment and kind of the nostalgia for me, like how some of you had nostalgia with COD 4 and really getting into it, I really, really got into COD at Black Ops 1, so that kind of has the nostalgia factor for me, and that kind of bumps it up to a 2. Then following Black Ops 1, MW3 was released. MW3 for me, another kind of 2-tier game, and now that I'm putting this at 2, it kind of makes me realize maybe I will drop Black Ops 1 down to a 2 or a 3, I mean. But MW3, it's like 2 of my best friends' favorite game of all time. Once again, I still wasn't fully into competitive. I started to dabble in it a little bit here. But once again, I love Spec Ops in this game. I thought it had some of the most fun pubs, it was a really similar game to MW2 in a lot of aspects. Wasn't super into competitive. Like I said, loved the Spec Ops. The multiplayer was amazing. So to me, it goes at a 2. Might move Black Ops 1 down. And then following MW3, I know I said Black Ops 1 kind of changed COD for me and it was a turning point. And Black Ops 2 was like a turning point for me into the competitive scene. So Black Ops 2 goes all the way to the top of my list. It goes to God tier. I mean, that's no shocker. I think most people have it in their 1 or their God tier. I think almost everybody does. To me, it easily goes in the God tier because I remember I was homesick from school one day, and I was just kind of like watching YouTube and stuff and chilling, and I just like stumbled. I watched like Nadeshot videos and stuff, and I didn't really even know that Nadeshot was too much into competitive. Like I knew he played like on a competitive team, and I was just watching like Scump pub stomping videos and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden I saw like a recommended video that was like COD Champs, like grand final, Team Envious versus Freako Impact, and I was like, what the heck is this? I'd never heard of this before. I played League Play all the time with my friends, but I never really heard of like a pro scene. And then I watched like the whole Champs finals, like the Killahegi Miracles and Karma versus that NV team with like Stainville, Rambo, Cap, and I can't remember who else. And Proofy, I think. And they were playing each other, and I was like, I love this. This is kind of, I mean, this is probably the starting reason of why I do this podcast. I was like, oh my God, I love this. And obviously pubs in this game are amazing. Zombies in this game. Everything about this game was just amazing to me. So it goes in the God tier. Then following Black Ops 2, I believe Ghost was released. And to me, as a young kid and like I enjoyed BO2 so much, Ghost at the time, I thought it was complete trash. But looking back on it in the competitive scene especially, I heard a lot of people say the campaign is good, but I'm not really factoring campaign in because I didn't play it too much. But to me, Ghost pubs and everything was only okay. So for now, I'm going to put it at a 3, and it might move down to a 4, or I'm not really sure yet. But competitive, looking back, was super, super fun to watch. And it was also kind of like the first game I watched full time. So like I have a nostalgia factor there. So just the competitive aspect is raising up to a 3. Pubs wise, I think it's like 4 or trash. But because of the good competitive scene, I'm going to put it at 3 for now. Then following that, we started the Jetpack era. Personally, I think it's my favorite era competitive-wise. I think it was so fun to play and didn't get old. Sometimes, like, in the boots on the ground games, it can get old. Just, like, having the same repetitive thing kind of happen over and over and over again. And I think, like, just the variability with the jetpacks and, like, the crazy plays you could make and how entertaining competitive was to watch with this crazy skill ceiling of the pros, I think that makes me put the Jetpack era a little higher in my mind, especially competitive-wise. And I'm going to put Advanced Warfare at number 2. And now that I'm seeing where I'm placing some of these things, I think I am definitely going to shift some things up and down a little bit here since I have like the 2 and 3 loaded up with no 4s or trash. But Advanced Warfare goes into 2 for me. I almost want to put it in a 1, but I wasn't playing a lot of competitive because I was one of those people at the time that was kind of against the move to jetpacks. And now in hindsight, Advanced Warfare competitively to watch, in my opinion, was amazing. I know some people are like, well, the fundamentals of COD were gone, but to me, it was so fun to watch. The crazy skill ceiling. The pubs were okay, but for me, the competitive was just so good that bumps it up to a 2. And then following Advanced Warfare, this is going to be really controversial, but my favorite Call of Duty of all time came out. And that is Black Ops 3. And I know people are going to say, how could you ever put Black Ops 3 in the God tier? It's like a 2 or a 3 or lower and stuff. But to me, I've never had more fun watching with the CWL being born that year and the tournaments and champs and everything. If there's one tournament I could go back to, I went to Black Ops 4 champs like you've heard before in the podcast. If there's one tournament I could go back and choose to go to, it would be Black Ops 3 champs. To me, Black Ops 3 was by far the most fun competitive game to play, and it was also the most fun to watch. The Zombies is my favorite 2 of any game. I didn't play the campaign once again, but the Zombies was absolutely amazing. The competitive to watch and play was absolutely amazing. The ranked playlist was okay in it, not great. And pubs was the most fun I've had in pubs since Black Ops 2. So to me, it goes up there in the God tier. And I actually like it more than Black Ops 2. I just loved that era, and I loved watching it and playing the competitive, which is mostly what we're focusing on in this list. So I put it in the God tier with Black Ops 2. Then following that, once again, kind of like Ghost after BO2, it was a game that I just was coming off a game that I loved, and the game wasn't absolutely horrible, but I just did not enjoy it at all. So to me, it goes in the 4. The only reason it doesn't go in trash for me is because I really enjoyed watching the competitive in this game. There was no ranked playlist, which seems to be a signature of Infinity Ward games for whatever reason. They just don't care about the fans and want to put a ranked playlist in, which drops it. I think I would have really enjoyed playing ranked in this game, but there just wasn't an option to play it. There was like some playlist with like the rule set or whatever, but it wasn't like an actual, you didn't get a rank or anything for it. And pubs in this game to me was just horrible. There wasn't really an extra mode that made me want to play it. Zombies in Spaceland to me was kind of a miss, and pubs was a miss. There was no ranked play, so that was a miss, which if it weren't for the fact that I really enjoyed watching it, it'd be in the trash. But for me, it's a 4 because I didn't really enjoy anything about it but watching it. Then following that, World War II was released, and to me, World War II for a lot of you is probably trash or a 4, but to me, I have to put it up in the 3 tier. Ooh, not in the 2. In the 3 tier because I mean, pubs in this game, once again, were not very good, but I think it had, like, the best rank play system. I think the ELO was, like, the best rank play, so that boosted up, and I also really enjoyed playing ranked in this game. I know a lot of people didn't, but I actually really thought it was actually, like, fun to play with, like, my squad of 4 at the time, and I don't know, I really enjoyed playing ranked play in this game. Once again, pubs were trash, which lowers it. I thought watching this game was, again, one of the most fun games to watch. I know a lot of people didn't because of how dull it was and stuff, but there was a lot of different winners and a lot of good teams and good storylines this year. It was like the year that Optic broke up, and then they got top 24 at Champs, which was kind of crazy to see. So the competitive this year was super fun to watch and also fun to play, but pubs and the extra game modes drag it down once again because the zombies in that game wasn't very good. Then following that, another controversial opinion I'm going to have, Black Ops 4. I loved it. As you can see, I kind of have a Black Ops bias and a Treyarch bias, but Black Ops, oh, no, not going to the God tier. It's going to 1. I don't think it's on the level of Black Ops 2 and 3. I think the pubs are better in 2 and 3. The competitive was better in 2 and 3, and I think 2 and 3 were more fun to watch. But to me, the pubs in Black Ops 4 were, I mean, better than the pubs in basically every game I have below it, besides maybe like you can make an argument for like MW3 and COD 4 pubs maybe being better, but to me the pubs were very good and better than, I mean, every other game below it, and I think that the ranked play, the ranked playlist itself, like with just the ladders and just whoever won the most got like diamonds and stuff, I thought the ranked system was pretty trash, which lowers it, like helps to lower it from a God tier game for me. But I thought playing the competitive, I mean, I played this for countless hours with my roommate and 3 of my friends, and we just couldn't get enough of playing it. It was so fun to play to me. And watching this game to me was super fun, and it holds a special place in my heart because it was the first event I ever went to. I went to Champs, and it was like one of the coolest experiences of my life. I mean, we flew all the way from Wisconsin to California for it. We saved up for it for a long time, me and my roommate, and it was just one of the coolest experiences I've ever been to. It was super fun to watch, super fun to go to the event, so it holds a special place in my heart for that reason. And also, I had fun with the zombies with my friends like I always do, so for me, it goes in that 1 tier. Not quite a God tier, but it's a 1 tier. Oh, and then for me, Modern Warfare, this game goes in the trash bin. Warzone, to me, raises it from not being like a super mega trash game. I heard the campaign was good, so maybe if I played campaigns, I'd put it up a little bit. And I could understand if you put it at a 4 or maybe a 3 because of Warzone. But like I said, I'm not factoring in, like, the only games that maybe got boosted was like maybe Black Ops 1 maybe got boosted a spot due to the fact that it's zombies, but I didn't really boost anything based off extra game modes. Like, they were just helpers. And Black Ops 3 and 2 were going to be in the God tier anyways. Even though I love the zombies, the multiplayer was going to be in the God tier regardless of zombies or not. And to me, the squad spawns and the maps, like, to me, the most important things in a game are the mechanics work, the guns feel good to shoot, and then right next to that is maps and, like, sensible spawns, and like the game just makes sense. This game to me makes no sense. I don't think that the spawns make any sense at all, and I don't think that the maps are good at all. I think going away from the 3-lane was the worst mistake they ever made. There's way too many lines of sight. I shouldn't have to worry about 16 different lines of sight I could be shot from when I run down an alley. In Warzone, I think Warzone's very good. I think it's better than Blackout, personally. I think that it's the best BR we've seen in COD, although we've only seen 2. I think it's the best BR, and I think that it's super good and is a valid reason that you could put this game in 4 or 3, but when we're looking at competitive, I think it's like the worst competitive to watch that I've ever watched, just because the game doesn't make sense and domination sucks to watch. I still enjoy watching it because I just enjoy competitive COD that much. But I can't say that I enjoy watching it more than Black Ops 4 or World War II before that, or any of the Jetpack games, or Black Ops 2 or Ghost. I can't say I enjoy watching it any more than that, although I still do enjoy it. To me, it's more boring than all those games. So for that reason, it kind of goes in the trash. And then following that, after looking at kind of my game selection here, I do want to make one adjustment, I think. I want to move Black Ops 1 down to the 3 tier, and then World at War down to the 4. Move World at War down because I didn't really play competitive. I know like most of the pros went back and played COD 4 for another year after it because it wasn't very good. And for some reason, Black Ops 1, although I have not a lot of nostalgia with it, it feels wrong putting it on a tier with like MW3 and COD 4 to me, and I personally just liked Advanced Warfare Competitive to watch a lot. So yeah, I had to move it down. So there we go. We got Black Ops 2 and 3 in the God tier, MW2 and Black Ops 4 in the 1 tier, then COD 4, MW3, and AW in the 2, Ghost, Black Ops 1, and World War II in the 3, World at War and Infinite Warfare in the 4, and then Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the current title, in the trash bin, and then Call of Duty 2 and 3 I never really played, so I didn't want to offer like a kind of like a half opinion on them when I never really truly had first-hand knowledge of them. So there is my final list, as you guys can see it. I know you guys are going to disagree with it. I know very few of you probably have Black Ops 3 in the God tier, but this is a competitive channel, and I think everybody loved watching that game, so maybe more of you do have it. I did look at it more from a watching and playing competitive aspect. That was what weighed mostly into my factor, as I said. So comment down below what you guys think of my list. I feel like a lot of people have MW2 up in that top echelon. Same with Black Ops 2 and 3. I feel like a lot of people have that at 2 or above. I think some people might have Black Ops 4 a lot lower, and people probably have COD 4, MW3 higher and stuff. But I feel like my list is pretty in tune with the competitive community. Some people might have Modern Warfare higher too, the current one. But I feel like overall, like, my list is within a couple of what everybody would have. So comment down below what you guys had for your list, what you think of my list, what would you change? Is your list close to mine? Is it far off? The podcasts will resume probably a week from today, as this is probably getting uploaded on Monday. The podcast will resume on Monday for the pre-show of the New York event. Comment down below your guys' list. Like I said, I hope you guys kind of enjoyed this. This was something different. Obviously, it wasn't a podcast episode, but it was more of like me giving my opinion on Call of Duty a little more. I'm probably going to do more tier maker lists in the future, like in the off season. Maybe I'll do like a COD ARs tier list or COD players tier list or something like that. So yeah, let me know if you guys enjoyed this type of video, something a little different from the podcast to fill the time, maybe give you guys something to watch. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the recent support on the podcast. Look out for a podcast next week before the event, and I will see you later. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and add your comments on what you thought of my list.